Hi, my name is Jessica Walsh, and I am a graphic designer, an illustrator, and an art director living and working in New York City. I was born and raised in a little town right outside the city called Treetops, and I was always the artsy child of the family. I always loved making things. I was obsessed with all the arts and crafts in school, and I remember when I was 8, my aspiration was to make really elaborate beadwork on the side of the street, and my parents were like, maybe you should aim a little bit higher. It wasn't until I was like 11 that I started doing some bit of a logo work and for my parents' company and doing some web design. Then I realized I could do this as my career. So I went to RISD College, and after school I nabbed an internship with Polishare at Pentagram in New York City, and unfortunately she didn't have any open spots for me. At the end of the term, she found her friend Christina DiMatteo, the art director at Print magazine, and she actually gave me a job as an associate art director. Although I was loving the internship and loving the way I was working with them, and it was not my aesthetic, like I just didn't feel that it was the best opportunity out there, so I always wanted to work in a design studio and be in a branding environment. So in the middle of the night in February 2010, I sent Stefan Seinmeister a super long, emotional email, unsure of where to go in life. And days later, he replied and he wanted to meet with me. So out of all the design studios in New York, his was always the only one that I really, really look up to and admire because of the emotional quality of the work that he was doing. It wasn't just design, it was story and authorship and content creation. So I really just wanted to hear his advice in starting a studio. At that time, he only had one person working for him. So I didn't go thinking that I was gonna get a job. I didn't even think that it was possible to work for him. But he looked through my book and was like, before you do that, before you start a studio, let's try to work on a few projects together and see if it works out. So after 2 years, I decided that I wanted to create my own studio, and I went to Stefan and I was just like, hey, thank you for the opportunity, but I just want to go on my own now. And he was just like, you know what, why don't we rename the studio to Seinmeister and Walsh? And that's how the partnership happened. So I don't know if you guys recall, but in 1993, Stefan introduced his new design studio by mailing a new postcard of himself to potential clients. And we decided to do the same thing. And when it was first launched, and a lot of people didn't know who I was, and of course Stefan is such an established person in the community, and I can understand and empathize with the people that were like, wait, why is this 25-year-old girl naked? People didn't know who I was. They were just like making rumors of Stefan and I, and I mean, it was a lot of pressure because now I was working with one of the most amazing graphic designers in history, and I just had to, raise the bar for myself. In Seinmeister and Walsh, we do a lot of commercial work, and people criticize us for making commercial art into fine art. So after a year of doing such commercial work, I did not feel complete, and I didn't do work for myself. And if you don't do work for yourself, you lose the honesty in what you're doing in a way. So for a while, I was just in a weird spot. But eventually, I realized I just can't live for other people. I just wanted to do my own thing. And people will hate it sometimes, and that's fine. Me and my graphic designer friend, Tim Goodman, decided to date for 40 days to see if we could overcome our relationship issues and fall in love. So we documented this social experiment on a blog, and it was called 40 Days of Dating, and it was launched in July 2013. So going nude for a postcard was one thing, but this was another entirely more emotional side of me. Like, it was revealing the readers who I really was. I put on the table for readers from the anxiety that I have and sleeping problems to my relationship issues to having sex with a Steinmeister and Walsh branded condom. But in the end, 40 Days of Dating was my most proud project that I ever have done in my career. The site went viral and led to appearances on the Today Show and The View, and we sold the film rights to Warner Brothers, and a print book released the same year. The funny thing is that I'm less proud of the content and more proud of the realization that design can touch a mass audience. What I learned is that a lot of designers like to keep design in the box, and anyone who tries to do something outside the box, it's really easy to criticize them. A lot of graphic designers want to remove themselves, which is fine. Some people's styles doesn't lend itself to putting your personal voice in it, and certainly not in every client project is that appropriate thing to do. But that doesn't mean as designers we can't do that. Design is just a tool, like writing is a tool to express ourselves. I love color. Every time my dad will go on a business trip, he'll bring me a box of crayons, and I love drawing with them and combining all the colors, but there were not enough, and I always wanted more colors because colors can bring so much personality in whatever you're doing and also evoke emotion. I wanted my work to evoke emotion between the viewer and the design. I wanted to make someone smile, or to give another perspective in how you look at design, or even cause them to be shocked. Designers have these amazing tools to communicate to so many people, and design should be not only about making people's content pretty, it should be about finding our own voice